Hey, a Russian ruble. I wonder what it'd be worth today. Well, Your Eminence, do you still have any room left?
Ah, my son, the sin of gluttony is the most difficult of all in my eyes. Nevertheless, what a charming moment we have had together. I'm delighted I was able to talk to Mr. von Wollner. We hadn't spoken to each other for an eternity.
Yes. I noticed that Your Eminence knew a fair number of people at the table.
The benefit of age, my son. This isn't my first invitation to Lord Mortimer's. You will see, it's the perfect place to make new friends. Indeed, I noticed that you and Mr. Bonaparte had already begun.
Ah, I adapt quickly to local customs. It's what I was taught.
And you are right to do so, my son. But tell me, have you had any news of your mother since your arrival?
Alas, still nothing, Your Eminence. But I still haven't been able to meet Lord Mortimer.
Do not worry. It is typical of him. What can I say? Lord Mortimer is a very busy man. I should think you are beginning to worry.
To tell you the truth, not really.
You are right. Be positive. Perhaps Sarah is in the company of Lord Mortimer, and they will both turn up shortly.
But while I have you with me, I have a question for you.
Go ahead, Louis. What can I do for you?
If I said to you, where all eyes size you up, would it mean anything to you?
I don't know if it's the place you're looking for, Louis, but it makes me think of the portrait gallery.
There's a gallery here? Can you tell me where to find it, please?
Of course. Just go through the door at the end. It will lead into the library. Continue all the way through, and you'll end up in the gallery. You'll see it, Louis. When you get there, you'll know.
Thank you very much, Your Eminence. On that last word, then, I shall leave you to fight your demons. See you later, Your Eminence.
See you later, my son.
Devil's Thorn. I'll keep. The lock is surrounded by a triple circle. All right. I've retrieved everything. Amber crystals. Atrus, the Miller brothers. Mother expressly forbade me from reading it. A few pages out of an old encyclopedia. Where all eyes size you up. Chances are, that's the room my mother spoke of. And she also spoke of a Medusa. Should I go and try to find the creature now? A Byzant from the Byzantine Empire. A coin often used during the St. Louis era. Christ Crucified by Velázquez. Look, someone's left a note there. The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. The last day before his crucifixion, Jesus announced the Song of Roland. Ah, François Ier, receiving amber crystals. Devil's Thorn. I'll keep it. I've got to find out what Mother was trying to do with her. The Medusa. A hero armed with a sword? A hero with a lantern. And the last one holding a shield. I'll stake my life on it. All the statues form a single scene together. The poor devils are about to face the beast. Let's give them a helping hand. The statue is darker on the right-hand side. It must be often placed towards the fire, which would explain the difference in color. In that case, it would be facing the Medusa. Perfect for the coup de grace. Now, Louis, it's time to keep a logical mind, as every good scientist should. The aim is to defeat the Medusa, so what can the lantern be for? To light up the Medusa? Hardly likely. The hero holding the lantern will be easy prey, and the shield will be of no use. To light up the sword? No, that makes no sense. So that leaves the shield. I wonder if the aim is to play with the light. If I turn the shield right, the light would be reflected. The ray of light will perturb the Medusa and focus her attention on the best protected hero. The mechanism is worn here. Whenever the shield is not turned toward the sword, the machinery freezes up. The statue must have been in this position most of the time, betrayed by the marks of time. So that makes it easy. The shield must face the sword. Now, Louis, it's time to keep a logical mind, as every good scientist should. The aim is to defeat the Medusa, so what can the lantern be for? To light up the Medusa? Hardly likely. The hero holding the lantern will be easy prey, and the shield will be of no use. To light up the sword? No, that makes no sense. So that leaves the shield. I wonder if the aim is to play with the light. If I turn the shield right, the light would be reflected. The ray of light will perturb the Medusa and focus her attention on the best protected hero. In Greek mythology, anyone who looked into the eyes of the Medusa turned to stone. So the monster's statue must be turned towards someone who can protect their eyes. It can only be the hero holding the shield. Whoa. Rah! For Pete's sake, Emily! You scared the pants off me. Don't ever do that again.
Well, keep your nose out of my business then.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop fooling around and tell me what you're doing here.
I was feeling a bit peckish. I went in search of the kitchen and I ended up here.
Your sense of direction is mind-boggling, isn't it? Well, no matter. I'll tolerate your presence this one time. Now, since you're here, make yourself useful. Look around on your side. I'll do the same on mine. And if you find anything of interest, let me know.
Oh yeah, in your dreams. At your service, madam. The heavenly symbols refer to Pandora's box. Emily, I'm pretty sure I've got Pandora's box.
Of course you have. You see an earthen pot and you immediately assume it can only be Pandora's box. Logical. What I like about you, Louis, is that you never fail to surprise me.
Emily, what if I open the jar? Would that then make man responsible for all the evils?
Try. It'll make a change. All right, can we move on now?
I do love your irony, but honestly, are you ever impressed by anything you see?
By a chamber pot? No, you really do need to do better than that.
A golden fleece.
It's freezing. Hurry up.
An unofficial gospel? You'd be more likely to find this kind of book at the Vatican.
Nothing special. The library at Buckingham has 3.
Hey, Mortimer is the author of this work. It talks about his passion for art. Guess what I found?
The Holy Grail.
Older than that.
A piece of Noah's Ark.
Not that old.
This could go on for hours. Just tell me.
Caesar's laurel wreath. The workmanship on this crown is amazing. The finesse of the gold laurel leaves is beautiful. A crown worthy of an emperor. I'd stake my life that it's the genuine article.
Stop! Don't put your grubby fat fingers on it.
You find my fingers fat?
At least put on some gloves.
Please note, my fingers are slim.
You were going to leave marks. My God, what an amateur.
Many a harpsichord players would love to have sexy fingers like mine.
Tell me where you took your infiltration classes so I can have your tutor executed.
Let's compare hands then. We'll soon see whose fingers are fattest.
No, I'm not going to compare hands with you. Let's just keep going.
Bad loser. Well, looks like a pamphlet on different political regimes, written by Mortimer himself.
Here's something interesting. A manor in Maine, hundreds of acres of land in Catalonia, properties in Shanghai. Incredible. Some of these deeds are over 600 years old, and all signed by the hand of Mortimer.
I wonder if that's what inspired my mother's attention. How come all these documents have Mortimer's signature on them?
Do you think all these properties really belong to him?
See those fine scratches around the words?
Yes, and?
The ink barely spreads on the paper. It spreads exactly the same way on the signature. The deed was written using the same ink. If it is a fake, then it's a professional job. Maybe Mortimer is immortal or capable of living for a very long time, like Methuselah.
A first smile. Careful. Keep that up and soon you'll end up laughing.
Carry on sprouting inanities like that, and indeed I might. These documents are intriguing, but do you really think that's what attracted your mother's attention here?
And how do you know my mother was interested in this room?
I didn't know, I just supposed she was. And you just confirmed it. So, do you think she found what she came for?
I don't know. She was obsessed with Mortimer, and I must confess, these property deeds are troubling.
If that's the case, why would she have left them?
Once again, I don't know. We'll have to ask her when we find her. And what's your take? How did Lord Mortimer get all this? It's just crazy.
Secret connections, money, or a well-kept family treasure passed on from generation to generation. Who knows?
That would mean some of Mortimer's ancestors lived before Jesus was born. I wonder why my mother didn't make it clear what she was interested in here.
She didn't have time to write it down, or maybe she wasn't sure of what she was looking for.
Or she wanted to protect her discoveries. It's disturbing.
You'll just have to search the rest of the room. Maybe you'll find something.
Amber. You should see this sword, Emily. It's magnificent.
I'm busy. Describe it to me.
Brass quillons and knobs. A beautiful cruciform line. Judging by the wear and the technique used to forge it, this sword dates back to the Crusades, and it must have belonged to a wealthy knight. There's a date. MCXC, 1190. That's right. Forged for the Crusades. I think this is Excalibur, King Arthur's sword. I've always dreamt of drawing it from the stone.
How sweet, you're still clinging to your boyhood dreams. When you finished playing, maybe you can help me search the place?
I found an amazing ring. There's an inscription engraved on it. Emily, when I see that ring, I can no longer hold back my feelings for you.
Oh, stop it. You're being ridiculous.
What do you mean? I was just about to get down on one knee.
What is that you found?
A cameo pendant. What's going on?
Nothing.
For crying out loud, Emily, you lunged for that jewel like your life depended on it. Tell me what this is about.
No. We just met, Louis. I like you, but I can't just suddenly open myself up like a book to you.
Listen, Emily. It seems pretty obvious to me that you haven't come here for the sole purpose of sampling Mortimer's cellar.
Stop all the clever evasions and just trust me.
And why the hell should I place my trust in you, Louis?
When are you going to understand that I just want to help you?
What do you expect? That I'll fall into your arms and say yes to everything you want?
What are you talking about? I'm only asking you to trust me a little.
If only on principle, as a member of the Golden Order, for example.
I'll admit you are fairly reliable.
That's it? I was expecting more.
Well, I'm prepared to trust you when it comes to choosing a French cheese, but I've nothing to gain by confiding in you any further than that.
Nothing to gain? Damn it, Emily! I'm only trying to help you. Stop needing to gain something all the time.
Because you think I need help?
Just like everyone. You have your strengths and your weaknesses. And there's no use pretending otherwise.
Ha! And I bet you found out where I'm weak, haven't you?
Pragmatic, intelligent, sure of herself. Her only weak spot is her difficulty talking about herself.
I don't know much about your past, but I'm guessing you had to get by on your own for much of your life. It might have closed you off, and that can be a disadvantage. It might be time for you to open up and risk a little trust. Not every man you meet wants to hurt you.
Yes, you may be right. I might have some weaknesses, but I don't need your help to overcome them. And I'm simply not contemplating collaborating with anyone at this time. Do you understand?
I don't see us as partners for life. You won't owe me anything, you know. It doesn't commit you to anything after all.
All right, you've gone to a lot of trouble. You deserve an answer. I already have a work partner. I know my weaknesses. I don't doubt that your abilities will be of use to me, but I already have all that, thanks to my teammate.
Is there any chance you might tell me who he is?
No, I've already said too much. Consider yourself lucky I've even given you this much. It's extremely rare, believe me.
Come on, don't stop now that you've come this far. You know that eventually I'll end up making you talk.
Well, since no one can resist you, let's see if you can guess who my partner is.
You're a gambler. So, your partner is... your sister. She's your partner. She's the one you're looking for.
Well, I am impressed. How the devil did you guess I had a sister? Virtually no one even knows. When it comes to getting results, you are very good, I grant you that. You deserve to know why the sight of the cameo pendant affected me so strongly. I thought it belonged to Emma, my twin sister.
Oh. Now I get why you said you had a memory for two.
Yes, you can't imagine to what extent, though. As children, everyone got us mixed up. So one day we decided to play along. Since then, we have become one and the same. We have officially erased the identity of my sister Emma. Emily Hillsborough. The woman with two faces.
Clever. But isn't it complicated? How do you make it work?
One of us has no existence in the outside world. We share everything. First for one, then for the other. We dress the same, wear the same makeup, we speak the same. We've learned to act as one. When we accept a mission, we both turn up. This time, though, she went ahead, and I was meant to wait for her on the mainland. She was meant to meet Sir Home and bring back the details, so we could work out who would follow up.
And there was a problem?
She was supposed to return from Mortimer's 1 week ago. The boat turned up at Plymouth, but alas, no trace of my sister. Instead, a sailor passed me a message from home, notifying me of her sudden disappearance.
So, my mother and your sister go missing just a few days apart. That's strange. Maybe their disappearances are linked.
It's clearly a possibility, but up to now I haven't found a trace of either of them.
None of this is very reassuring.
By the way, Louis, now that you are in on the secret, you are obliged to keep it to yourself, or you will pay very dearly.
Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me.
It's time to leave.
So, what do you think of our first adventure?
I must admit, it has been fun by your side.
Same here.
Oh, she's been drinking too much again.
Louis, I need to talk to you right now.
Good evening, Elizabeth. Actually, this is not a good time.
I'm begging you, please don't leave me alone.
I'll be waiting for you in your room, but don't be late.
I was sure there was a certain je ne sais quoi between us.
Louis, we need to talk now. Otherwise, it'll be too late.
Looks like Elizabeth really needs me, but if I start talking to her, for sure Emily won't wait for me. What should I do? Sorry, Emily, but I can't leave Elizabeth like this.
All right, Elizabeth. How can I help?
Thank you. Come on, follow me. I really need to talk to you, Louis, right now.
Does Lord Mortimer know the mess you've made of your room?
Listen to me, damn it! My days are numbered.
Elizabeth, I don't know if it's about my mother again, but I'm telling you, you've nothing to be afraid of. She didn't come here for you.
I saw her.
Saw who? You saw my mother? When?
Just last night. I went out to walk along the cliff top and I saw her in the distance. She tried to hide right away, but I'm sure it was her.
Are you saying you recognized my mother in the middle of the night? While she was hiding?
Yes, Louis. I know it was her.
You just said she was far away, right? In the middle of the night. And the exterior of the island isn't exactly well lit.
Listen, I'm telling you it was her.
Did you talk to each other?
No, she was far away. I didn't make any noise, and then she was gone.
Have you told anyone you've seen her? Sir Holm? Mortimer?
You don't understand. It's her. She's here.
Yes, I understand.
No, you're not listening. The moment I saw her, I was overcome by spasms. She's here. I'm telling you, it was her. Yes, I need something to calm me down.
I'll drink with you, but let's go easy on it, okay? I don't know where she gets her rot gut from, but frankly, it's disgusting.
You know, Louis, when I came here, it was in the hope of getting help. I've only just now realized that I've been drawn here into a trap.
Whoa. The alcohol's gone to my head.
Here, the condemned's last drink.
Man, I need to take it easy with the booze. At this rate, I won't last the night. Let's go easy on the drinking, okay? Alcohol won't solve our problems. Ugh, the second one isn't any easier.
So, do you want to know why she did all those things to me, or not? Even if it changes the image you have of her forever?
What was she trying to cure you of then?
Of the one illness she never managed to treat me for.
Come on, Elizabeth. We have to finish what we started. I feel all dizzy. There must have been a reason. Just tell me. Tell me what my mother treated you for.
She wanted to silence them!
What? What are you talking about? Silence what?
The voices. The voices in my head. They speak to me, Louis. They've always told me what to do. They say nasty things to me.
Elizabeth, are you saying that spirits talk to you?
You're right. Sometimes there are several voices. How did you know?
No, listen, I don't know anything. I'm just repeating what you said.
They want me. Want me just for themselves. They talk to me all the time. Yet your mother did everything to make them go away. Ever since I was little. And look at the result.
It's impossible, Mother. You spent your life trying to prove that the supernatural doesn't exist. Why punish this poor girl? Oh, shit. What has she done to you?
Uh-oh, Louis. Are you starting to believe me?
No, but
Too bad it's all been for nothing. They're still there, you know.
What do you mean? They're still talking to you?
All the time. Despite everything Sarah put me through, I still hear them. And here I am on a lost island, knowing that no one knows me. And I find myself here at the exact same time as her. You see? You understand? You sense it too. I'm going to die here. I beg you, tell me you believe me.
I'm here, Elizabeth. I'm right here with you. And I do believe you.
Thank you, Louis. You know, despite what people might think, I'm not crazy.
My God, Elizabeth, how's this possible?
Welcome to my world, Lil Louis. Welcome to my life.
Let's not rush into things. You have nothing to fear here. I'm with you. And anyway, my mother's gone missing. You're not in any danger.
That's not what the voices say.
Listen to me. Don't give up. You must resist. And tomorrow, you'll see. Things will be better.
You like my little concoction, don't you? That's rare.
What?
It no longer has any effect on me. But my guests generally don't appreciate me mixing alcohol with laudanum.
What? You put laudanum in my drink?
In both. Don't worry, my little Louis. We'll sink down to the bottom together.
Oh man, I feel like puking. I really feel like shit. I gotta get back.
Don't worry, Louis. I'm here now. I'll take good care of you.
What is this bitch gonna do to me? Don't touch me! Just leave. If I get up, I'll fall.
Oh, little Louie's tired. Leave everything to me. Just let go.
Mademoiselle, may I come in?
My head. I shouldn't have drunk so much. Oh, shit.
Elizabeth! How many times must I tell you? You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible.
Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet. Monsieur de Richet, I am arresting you for the murder of Elizabeth Adams.
Is there nothing you want to say, Louis?
It wasn't me. I didn't kill her.
I'd much rather have met you under different circumstances.
Lord Mortimer, believe me, I'm very conscious of the gravity of the situation. Everything seems to point to me as the one who killed Elizabeth, but I swear I am innocent.
Out of respect for your mother, rest assured that I do want to believe you.
And all I want is to be able to prove it to you. When do we start?
We already have. Tell me, Louis, how do you feel?
I feel like a rat trapped in a maze.
Interesting.
I beg your pardon?
Sarah also felt like she was trapped like an animal.
Where are you going with this, my lord?
Sarah's behavior grew odd before her disappearance. Her attitude changed. She became prey to outbursts of violence and a number of temporary absences. I'm just trying to make sure that you don't go getting lost like your mother did.
You're not suggesting that I might have killed Elizabeth and that I don't remember, are you?
I don't know, Louis. It's just that what with your mother and now you, it's rather a lot. The more I take stock of the situation, the more I'm under the impression that you've been set up. But before going any further, I must inform you that Sir Gregory is about to arrive. He is coming to question you about the murder of poor Elizabeth, whom he was very fond of. He is quite determined to find the culprit, whomever they may be. So, convince him of your innocence. Then we can continue this conversation.
William, I would like to see you a moment before we begin. In private.
Let's step outside a moment. Louis, this will only take a few moments.
Better not make myself look more suspicious than I already do.
Good evening, Monsieur de Richet.
Likewise, Sir Gregory.
Well then, let us begin. Monsieur de Richet, you were found standing over Miss Adams' body. We must shed some light on your responsibility in this tragedy. We shall then decide on your fate. But you must know that if you do not convince us of your innocence, it will cost you dearly. Now you are going to tell us everything that happened last night, without leaving any detail out. First things first, how did your evening begin?
I was in the corridor and I was about to go to bed. Elizabeth appeared as if from nowhere and rushed toward me. She took me by the arm and led me to her room.
You say she led you? All right, we'll accept that. Continue.
We were heading for our rooms when Elizabeth burst into the corridor, barely dressed. She was panic-stricken and insisted on speaking to me. So I found myself in Elizabeth's room. We sat down together. She insisted we have a drink or she would refuse to confide in me.
What exactly did she want to speak about at such a late hour?
She was distressed. She just found out that I was Sarah de Riche's son and sort of insisted on telling me about the horrors my made her suffer. She was convinced she was going to die.
It turns out she wasn't wrong. And what happened next?
Then she told me she had poured laudanum in my glass. The next minute I was on the floor. When I woke up, she was lying in a pool of blood.
That is all you have to say? You expect us to believe that you have no idea what happened to her?
Yes, because I'm telling you the truth.
How can you possibly expect us to believe you?
Gregory, we must consider every possibility. Louis, do you have any idea who could have done it?
Why don't you ask him where he was last night?
Monsieur Peru, what would his motive be? Do you have any proof?
No, not exactly, but he'd already roughed her up once.
Monsieur de Riche, you should not accuse the first person to come along without at least some proof. I'm sure you are worthier than that.
Can you think of anyone else?
Look, frankly, it's beyond me. I just don't know.
Monsieur de Riche, don't you think it would be in your interest to help us find another suspect? Let's finish this, William. I don't rightly know how we can give the benefit of the doubt to an individual who can manipulate the truth to absurdity.
Louis, unfortunately, you haven't managed to convince us. You will agree that you had the time and the motive to commit the murder. I am devastated, but I must agree with Gregory and declare you guilty.
Gentlemen, if you please, wait. There is something else. Elizabeth ended up telling me why my mother had tried to treat her.
The voices in her head, is that it?
She spoke to you about them too, didn't she? Gentlemen, I'm not a doctor, but she was persuaded she heard voices in her head. You don't think she might have killed herself,
By
do you?
stabbing herself 9 times. I find that extremely unlikely, don't you?
What? Stabbed 9 times?
It appears that the murderer walked up and stabbed her several times from behind. We counted 9 gashes in all. All of them were relatively shallow, and they were all given from roughly the same angle of attack. Traces of blood appear to prove that she was standing throughout the attack.
I might not have the strength of Hercules, but if I had stabbed a woman, I'd probably have made deeper cuts.
Sounds plausible. I have to admit, you put forward a powerful argument, Monsieur de Riche.
I think that will be all, Gregory. The benefit of the doubt suffices. I would like to thank you for helping us shed light on what happened last night. To be honest, you are not the only suspect. I'm prepared to believe you were drugged. Our poor Elizabeth hid the stuff everywhere, and I could smell laudanum on you 3 yards away.
So you knew it wasn't me from the start?
We weren't sure. Louis, I am sorry, but everything points in the same direction. I only know one person on this island who might have had a big enough grudge against Elizabeth, who has no alibi, and whose behavior is, well, suspect. Not to mention dangerous.
Tell me what happened before my arrival. I think I've been patient enough.
You don't need us for any of this. So come along, Monsieur Peru. We are leaving.
Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
She isn't missing, you know.
What? What do you mean?
My mother has left traces in every nook and cranny of your island, my lord. She's definitely here. Now, what worries me most is why she doesn't show herself.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having the support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
If only my mother had trusted me, but she remained very mysterious. I'd have been delighted to answer your question.
Is this usual for her?
As head of the Order, secrets are her bread and butter, as you can imagine. That said, it's the first time she hasn't let me in on the reason for her trip. And it intrigues me, to tell you the truth.
Well, I am sure that Sarah will explain everything once she reappears. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Maybe she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
Tell me about her disappearance.
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on. That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that? Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you. The room is just opposite Mortimer's study. There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Dante's Paradise.
Raise your head and be reassured. For what is this disc? Oh, that reminds me of the ones my mother collects. It's magnetic. St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. A fierce opponent of the first Christians, St. Paul is suddenly struck by the call of Jesus Christ and converts. It's the best-known conversion in Christian history, which teaches us that even enemies of Christ can be saved, and even become his greatest apostles after finding faith. From what I can recall, the account of his conversion could be found in the epistles to the Galatians, the Philippians, the Corinthians, and the Acts of the Apostles. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior.
door appears to be locked on the other side. I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a key falling to the floor. We'll see if it works. It's open. A chest with the occult symbol representing air. The New Testament. This volume dates from the first edition by Gutenberg. It's the first book that was ever printed. The pages are covered in annotations in Latin, French, and Hebrew. Someone spent years studying this Bible. St. John is known as the youngest of Christ's apostles. Well, we often give credit to St. John for having written about the apocalypse in the last book of the Bible. Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. I don't know, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe? Honey, I couldn't have hoped for better. There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh after God. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Oh, wait, a note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here. What does it say? Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative, awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle. What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that? St. Paul painted by Guido Reni.
painting looks like it's been taken down recently. What was it my mother said? That she would wait for an answer hidden behind the apostle. Ah, of course. There's something written behind the painting. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean? On the second day, the pilgrims listened to the prophecy of the young apostle. The prophecy of the young apostle, that was John. And the prophecy mentioned is most likely the book of Revelations according to St. John. It's St. John, painted by Guido Reni. St. John is the only apostle painted in this gallery who hasn't got a beard. Hey, wait! That means it's him. He's the youngest apostle. Right. This painting is therefore associated with the answer which E had to give to my mother. Now, I just need to know how to recover the answer. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean? St. John is the only apostle painted in this gallery who hasn't got a beard. St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come? This painting has been hanging here for a long time. A lot of dust is built up on it. While a finger has drawn a number in the thin layer of dust, I can read the number 4. I guess I'll just come back later. In him, God has chosen us before the foundation of the world, that we may be holy and blameless before him. Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. There's nothing worth noticing here. Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Reni. Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew. It says, "Count in the dust." All right, let's do it. It's too cumbersome for me to unhook here, but judging by the dust, it hasn't been moved for months, if not years.
No, nothing of value here. There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all. That's what the message in Hebrew spoke about. Hebrew 8. Thou hast put all things under his feet, for in that he put all in subjection under him. He left nothing that is not put under him. But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Here's a message. There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's see tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Yeah. This last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul. A fragment of amber. St. John is the only apostle painted in this gallery who hasn't got a beard. It's St. John, painted by Guido Reni. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean? Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the Apostles by Guido Reni. There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is on to us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Dante's Paradigm.
Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays. A chest with the occult symbol representing air. And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee and was baptized by John in Jordan. Now, therefore, there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law with one another. Why do ye not rather suffer injustice? Why do ye not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded? Ah, look, here's a message. It is of paramount importance that no one finds it. Watch out for the Prussian. He's on the trail. Let's meet up. I'll leave it to you to organize the rendezvous. Not today. I'm unable to do it. In the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark, who will reveal the answer to them. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." And he became very hungry, and would have eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance. Hey, there's a note here. A message from Mother in reply to E. We must leave urgently, but first I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare. Watch out for Volner. He figured out I was avoiding him. Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. Stand ready. For now, let's cease all communication until we meet. Take care of yourself. I suppose this must be the last message. What happened afterward? If it's what I suspect, I fear the worst. What did Mother mean by, I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare? I must go beyond the nightmare. What does she mean by that? I'm guessing it's a metaphor. I need to figure out what this means. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious. It's time I went back and joined everyone in the small salon. Monseigneur, His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi. Huh, that's me. Emily, I must speak to you.
What's the matter, Louis?
I have news about your sister.
What have you found out?
Look, I've started piecing together the events leading up to my mother's disappearance and your sister's. Did my mother know about your secret?
Yes, even though I belong to the English chapter, her rank in the Order gives her access to a good deal of personal information.
It must have been Emma I saw in my vision.
I was given to understand that my mother and your sister bonded during their stay. If Mother's really killed her sister, I'd better find her by myself. They say they spent a lot of time together. They got along well.
Oh, really? Do you think your mother liked Duchess Hillsborough?
Of course she did. After all, she's your sister. Well, we'll find them, Emily. Trust me.
Should I speak to her about my vision? If what I saw is true, she might want to take revenge.
Emily, there's something else.
Go on, then.
It's about your sister. I don't know what happened exactly, but it's possible that my mother had a go at her.
I know, Louis. I found out that same evening. Well, thanks for not trying to hide it.
What? Why didn't you tell me?
I didn't know if I could trust you. Now I know I can. It seems that your mother tricked Emma. She apparently asked her to hide an important book, so that even she wouldn't know where it was. And then she shot her like a dog to make sure no one would ever find it again.
Why would she do that?
I don't know, Louis. But I'll find out. You can count on that.
I'm sincerely sorry, Emily.
Thank you, Louis. But you do realize your mother will have to accept the consequences of her acts.
There must be an explanation, Emily.
That's what we shall see. Come, Louis. They're waiting for us.
You will pay dearly, Peru. I'm sure you were involved somewhere along the line.
That's right. Pretend you don't know. One piece of advice. Don't travel through France on your way back, or it'll cost you dearly.
Calm now, my friends. Let's calm down. Everyone seems to be a little unnecessarily heated. Don't forget where you are, please.
What's going on here exactly?
Sir Gregory called us together to introduce the last guest.
But hardly had we arrived when he set upon Monsieur Peru.
And who is this charming character?
Manuel Godoy, the Duke of La Alcudia.
He's the head of the Spanish government, Monsieur de Richet. He's the one who, in practice, controls Spain.
How could you dare do such a thing? Dios mío, you are all out of your minds!
Really, Duke Manuel? What made you kick up such a fuss?
What? Have you not heard? Well, let me inform you that yesterday morning at 10:22 a.m. precisely, in the middle of the Place de la Révolution in Paris, by decree of the National Convention which Monsieur Peru works for, King Louis was guillotined.
What? Oh, no.
The King of France is dead, gentlemen. Our monarchies are in danger. I have said it before. How dare they?
Oh, dear.
Oh, as if...
Gracious.
Friends, let us calm down.
Don't pretend to be surprised. He got a fair trial.
Ridiculous! Bastard! He was sentenced to death by 361 votes to 360. You beheaded a king for one vote! Is that your democracy?
What an obnoxious act. Until this, anything was possible. This political coup will have grave consequences.
France is lost.
Gentlemen, please. Let us take a step back a moment.
In the name of holiness. He was the highest representative of God in France, Emily.
Gentlemen, this news affects us all, but I must ask you to remain calm. It's not the first time history has taken us by surprise. let's ensure that our respective countries are allowed to respond appropriately to this news.
Oh, rest assured. The response will not fall short, my friend.
Good for you. Well, Your Grace, here I was preparing to introduce you as is proper, and you've beaten me to it. I'm delighted that we are all together at last. Our meeting will therefore be able to kick off shortly. I have just a few more little preparations to take care of before you all find out the reason for your presence here. In the meantime, I shall leave you to get to know one another. When you hear the bell, please proceed to the conclave room on my left, behind that door. I'll see you later.
Could you spare a moment, please, sir?
I'm glad you asked. I want to talk to you, too. Of course.
I heard about your mother's disappearance.
He looks concerned. I don't know why, but I doubt it's from sympathy alone. Well, let's see what he wants from me.
Any news of her? Have you found her, maybe?
Hear you speak, it sounds like you and my mother were close.
Let's say I hold your mother in high esteem, yes. We were even planning to work together.
That's what he was getting at.
Did she tell you about our arrangement?
Absolutely, but I was hoping that you could tell me more about it.
Well, she was planning to sell me a very old book. I will make no secret of the fact that I am passionate about the subject. And when Sarah spoke to me about it, her account literally had me enthralled. I can think of nothing else since. You might have come across some old books in her belongings, perhaps?
The least one can say is that he doesn't beat around the bush. Sarah never travels without a few books. What does the one you're looking for look like exactly?
It resembles a grimoire. It's divided into 7 parts, each one individually locked. It was made in such a way that if someone tried to tamper with it, the sheets would be permanently tarnished. It's a unique copy. There's only one.
The mere mention of it makes his face light up. Well, I'll take a closer look, but I can't promise you anything. You seem very upset. Is it so important to you, this book?
Well, it's the search of a lifetime. What can I say? Every time I move closer to it, it seems to slip away at the last minute. I was very surprised to learn that your mother had it in her possession. I thought it was with a certain von Borchardt in Paris. Do you know him?
Indeed. One of your close friends?
No, not really, but we were close once. Precisely over the case that concerns us now, because he claimed to have the book I'm looking for.
Another dishonest person. What can you say? Can't trust anyone these days, huh?
No, you can't.
I hope I've been able to satisfy your curiosity, Mr. von Wollner, and that you succeed in finding what you're looking for.
Oh, and so do I.
And now, what if you told me who you really are working for, instead of keeping up this pretense?
I beg your pardon?
We both know what you're looking for, von Wollner. You're the one who von Borchardt was planning to sell it to.
For centuries, all those who have come into contact with the Al-Azif have bitterly regretted it, Monsieur de Richet. You are playing a dangerous game. Please know that I am working for someone who does not appreciate anyone poking around in his business.
Let me guess. Your dear king, I should think.
What? You mean Frederick William? Oh, my poor fellow. You are miles away. That stupid, pretentious puppet wields no real power. But seeing as you do not wish to be serious, so be it. Good luck to you.
Chronicles of the Amber Princes. As I recall, Dorkin was my favorite character. A drachma. Monsieur Bonaparte, may I speak with you a moment?
May we?
Does expression "go beyond the nightmare" mean anything to you at all?
Well, metaphorically, yes. It sums up the career of a soldier quite well. I doubt that is what you want to hear, though.
Indeed. That's surely not what I'm looking for.
Well, monsieur, if you are looking for a phrase book, Lord Mortimer must surely have one, given the number of books he has. You ought to check in the library of the tower. You never know.
Would you have any more information about the conference Lord Mortimer spoke of?
Nothing at all. Mortimer is very committed to secrecy when it comes to his conferences. But given the presence of Monsieur Peru and ourselves, I think it must concern France to some extent. Otherwise, I doubt he would have invited 3 Frenchmen to his table, huh?
What do you think of Duke Godoy?
Well, I'd rather not express any opinion of him.
Why is that?
His reputation is enough for me.
Meaning?
This gentleman enjoys people talking about him for too many reasons. His undeserved titles, more than 10 in just 4 years, and each one more prestigious than the one before.
You don't think he deserves them?
If I had seen him on the battlefield, there might be some doubt. But that is not the case. The Queen would rather not risk losing him, so she consoles him with awards and titles.
So you don't have a very positive opinion?
His coveting French Catalonia does not encourage me to have one.
I understand your point of view. Well, I'll be leaving you now. Shall we meet up again later?
Wait, monsieur. Any news of your mother?
Unfortunately not, no.
I hope to speak with her about my deal before I leave. Let me know if you find her. À plus tard, monsieur.
What can I do for you, sir? I am at your service, day and night, sir.
As I was unable to bring my personal effects with me, I was wondering if you could find me a few items.
Of course, sir. What would you require?
I still haven't quite recovered after that boat crossing. Would you happen to have any Devil's Thorn by any chance?
I am sorry, sir, but the Devil's Thorn may be just a plant, but it is also a powerful psychotropic drug that causes undesirable diuretic effects. I would advise against, sir, taking any.
Go beyond the nightmare. Does this line remind you of anything in particular?
You caught me unaware here, Louis. Let me think about it a second. No, nothing comes to mind. Sorry, Louis, but I am unable to help you.
Mr. President, what do you think about your counterpart, Duke Manuel?
I'm very surprised he was able to accept Lord Mortimer's invitation, given the political situation in Spain.
What do you mean?
The situation is ready to explode with France over Catalonia.
Well, the Duke must have a darn good reason to be absent and come here, mustn't he?
When Lord Mortimer invites you, Louis, you come. It's always in your best interest.
I wouldn't say that personally, but...
Mr. President, can you tell me a little more about the coming conference?
Of course, Louis. That's why we're here. Lord Mortimer or Sir Gregory regularly organize meetings like this to put forward major projects.
What do you mean by major projects?
I'd prefer to let Lord Mortimer explain that to you, Louis. Let's say he brings together influential people in order to consider possible actions to undertake to guarantee the future of nations.
Do you know the theme of the conference?
Not in the slightest. None of the guests know the theme before arriving. But you'll see. Everything will turn out fine. Don't worry.
Well, thank you for your time.
Don't mention it, my young friend. Regarding your question on the nightmare, don't hesitate to question the others about it. Maybe one of them knows more than I do.
That's a good idea. Thank you once again. I'll see you in a little bit.
Ah, Louis. Just the man. Good Lord. How did the king come to be executed? I would think that the Order would have intervened.
I invite you to speak about it with my mother as soon as she reappears.
Is there any news of her?
Well, I hope it won't be long before I find her, Your Eminence.
Now you wanted to speak to me.
I'm sure a man like you is in the circle of trust. Would you know what the conference that Lord Mortimer mentioned is going to be about?
Not really, my son. Well, be it Lord Mortimer or Sir Gregory, we are never informed about the theme of the conference before it begins.
I was wondering what to think of that Manuel Godoy.
He is reputed to be a very ambitious character, at every level. But his faith is unwavering. He is a staunch defender of the Church. You can believe me.
If I say the nightmare to you, does it make you think of anything?
Your question is strange, my son. Difficult to say. Could you at least tell me a little more about the context?
Think of a place and tell me the first thing that comes into your mind when I say the nightmare.
Let me think. I'd say Lord Mortimer's favorite painting on the wall behind his desk. You know, that painting caused quite a stir when it was exhibited. It is titled The Nightmare, and it shows a woman lying down with a creature sitting on her. And in the background, a horse. I don't know if it will be of any help, but I can't think of anything else.
You never know. Thank you for that, though, Your Eminence. I gotta go and see it just in case, though. Thank you for everything, Your Eminence.
I shan't take up any more of your time.
You are welcome, my son. I will be seeing you, Louis.
Atrus, the Miller Brothers. Mother expressly forbade me from reading it.
The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci.
The last day before his crucifixion, Jesus announces that he will be... There's the alchemical symbol of the earth on the lid.
Fragment of amber. Golden elixir.
Duke Manuel Godoy. Monsieur Napoléon Bonaparte. Monsieur Jacques Perru.
What do you want, Louis?
What do you think of our last guest?
Well, I never thought I would get the chance to meet that Hispanic Casanova in the flesh. His reputation is well known. The gentleman collects lovers, including, would you believe it, the Queen of Spain.
Queen of Spain likes to indiscreetly say, the King, Godoy, and myself make up the Holy Trinity. The people have appropriately renamed them the Goat, the Ruffian, and the Whore.
I didn't see you being a mudslinger in your idle hours, I must say.
Emily, what can you tell me about the coming conference?
Sir Gregory and Lord Mortimer organize this kind of high society meeting every so often in order to consider the world situation.
But to what purpose?
Well, by bringing together the most influential people from the dominant nations of the modern world, they allow the mighty to discuss matters with calm clarity. There are precedents of armistices being signed at the end of these talks, you know. Talking while holding a glass of brandy makes things easier. You'll see.
Emily, what can you tell me about the coming conference?
Sir Gregory and Lord Mortimer organize this kind of high society meeting every so often in order to consider the world situation.
But to what purpose?
Well, by bringing together the most influential people from the dominant nations of the modern world, they allow the mighty to discuss matters with calm clarity. There are precedents of armistices being signed at the end of these talks, you know. Talking while holding a glass of brandy makes things easier. You'll see. You're leaving me?
Unfortunately, I have things to do. Thank you again, madam.